Welcome to the Aramaic word of the day, silence, which literally means in Aramaic, Shtiqotho. Let me tell you a story. I remember standing on the edge of the Judean wilderness, where the rocky cliffs fall sharply into the dry wadis, like in the picture you see back. And the silence feels heavier than words. And me, as a tour guide for more than 25 years in the Holy Land, I often see visitors surprised by the vast emptiness of the desert. No shade, no streams, only desert winds and the relentless sun. You have to know that Israel, half of it is desert. But in the Western imagination, a desert is often a place of desolation and abandonment. But in the Semitic Aramaic mindset, the desert was not a place to fear, but it was a place to encounter with your Creator. In the Western world, silence is often seen as the absence of sound, a void to be filled with activity, music, or words, keeping busy, busy, busy. But in the Semitic world, silence carries weight and depth in the heart. It's not the emptiness, but it's God's presence in the silence. You know, for all our ancestors in faith, silence was not simply the lack of noise, but the fertile ground where God's word could take root and bear fruit. And that all took place in the desert. Jesus was in the desert. John the Baptist was in the desert. Yohanan Hamatvil in Aramaic, his name is John the Baptist. Elijah, Jeremiah, so many prophets were in the desert. It's okay to be in the desert. So, today, in silence, today, the Aramaic word is Shtiqotho, which literally means silence. Another layer, it means stillness. It means abundance and resilience in your quiet time. By the way, it comes from the root shin, tau, kof. Every Aramaic and Hebraic word have roots, which these roots implies both quietness and attentive waiting and patience. Shatak is to be waiting and patient in silence. Also, we have the same root letter in Hebrew. Shtika carries the same idea. But in Aramaic, silence, you have to know, is not passive. It is active listening, a disposition of the heart that makes space for divine encounter. It's preparing your heart. This is why early Syriac monks with the Semitic life and describe their discipline of silence not as withdrawal or running away from the city, but as guarding the tongue so the heart can speak. So to practice silence or shtikotho was to allow the soul to learn into God's whispering voice to your heart when you are quiet. Consider reading Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 20. Look what it says. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. So in Aramaic thought, this was not a command to stifle yourself, but an invitation to reverence, to revere, to make a relationship. You know, when Yeshua stood before Pilate, he was accused and mocked, but he was silent. Shtikutho. His silence was not weakness, but profound power. Sometimes you know you're right and people accuse you, but still you stay silent. It's not because you are weak, it's because you have confidence. This is the meaning of the Aramaic word shtikotho. It reveals your authority and trust in silence because the Father sees your heart, but not the man. Also, we can read in 1 Kings chapter 19, when Elijah did not find God in the earthquake or fire, but in the silence, in the stillness of the small voice. So you need to build an Aramaic ear to hear and understand the voice, to have discerning spirit in silence. Now consider your own life. You know, in Western culture, you often equate faith with constant speech, preaching, teachings, more prayers, more songs, more activity, keeping busy. That's not wrong. But perhaps God is calling you to Shtiqotho today, to rest from all these activities, from the endless striving, and rediscover that He is God in the silence, in the Shtiqotho, in the stillness. Try it. When you embrace holy silence, you're not withdrawing from God, but drawing nearer to His heart. In silence, anxiety settles, distractions fade away, and your spirit begins to hear the gentle leading of the shepherd's voice. Silence does not diminish faith, it sharpens it. Think like the desert early fathers lived in the silence of the desert, where their faith was sharpened. In the desert, in the Shtiqotho, you live in the present moment. When you're silent, do not think about your future, about your past. Think about your present condition of your heart. So today, allow yourself a few moments of Shtiqotho. Step away again from all the noise. Resist the urge to fill every gap, to do it all. It's not about you. And let God's voice speak into your stillness, into your Shtiqotho, into your heart. It is in the quiet spaces that transformations begins. If you want more Aramaic words of each day, we have hundreds of videos in our twinsbiblicalacademy.com. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.